Next up, I'd like to introduce Werner Graf, who's running for assembly in the 15th District.
Thanks very much. Hi folks, I've been here all day and it is inspiring to see so many fellow citizens out here, and I've mingled with the crowd and it seems like a lot of people are here the same way I am, for the first time at a public protest. It's why I'm running for office for the first time, because this spending business has gotten out of hand. I want to compliment the Assemblyman for having the courage to come out here. It's good with a record like that. You can certainly come out here and talk to the crowd. Where are the other folks? Where are the other people that are accountable to you? There's not a single other politician in this office that's here right now. Now, Eugene Debs in 1912 had the Socialist Party and gave it its best year. They got 6% of the popular vote. Now that was the year of the trust busters, the year of the robber barons, and they could muster 6% of the popular vote. Well, the socialists, if they could fast forward to 2009 in the state of New Jersey, they must be laughing, because now they've got a majority in the State House and they've got a governor. One of these days, we're going to hold the politicians accountable for wrapping the causes of socialism in a banner that's called fairness and claiming the moral high ground. There is no fairness or moral high ground in driving the citizens of New Jersey out of this state. There's no fairness in taxing the producers of this state until the point where they can't stay in their homes past the time they paid their mortgages off. There's no fairness in having our seniors leave simply because they can't manage a tax bill after years of financial discipline. Now folks, you guys are the new patriots as far as I'm concerned. You've got your assembly rights, you come off of a day of work, you're standing out here in the cold rain. 2 centuries ago, Washington assembled 5,000 other patriots 9 miles north of here. Yeah! Yeah! They were assembled in a war born of unfair taxation. They had Marbleheads from Massachusetts. They manned the boats as they crossed the Delaware and kept the ice floes from sinking. They had Continentals from New Hampshire and from Maryland. They had militia from Burlington County and from Hunterdon County from the state of New Jersey. Yeah. They had Philadelphia Associators. These folks were storekeepers and accountants. And they took up arms and they marched north of Trenton because they heard that they were going to cross. Now, when Washington crossed, he also brought 2 regiments, one from western Pennsylvania near Lancaster County, another one from the western foothills of Virginia, and they carried that flag. I saw it earlier. Little Yvonne has it, as I met her just earlier, the Don't Tread on Me flag. There you are, Don't Tread on Me. That is an important historical flag, folks. Ben Franklin called that a uniquely American flag. Now, I've got one here too, and I guess I'm now on an FBI list as a right-wing extremist. And hopefully they'll find me in the State House next year. I won't run too far. These, you know, you think it's cold here today, and it's a testament to everybody to come out here in the rain. Washington's army, 5,000 of them, the first ones to cross the river tore down a picket fence because they were so cold, and they started to burn it. So that the rest of the army, as they unloaded the artillery and the horses, would have some bit of relief before they marched 9 miles south. And then they marched through an icy December northeaster in a war born of unfair taxation. That flag, Don't Tread on Me, represents individual liberty. They knew that onerous, debilitating taxation saps a man's individual liberty. They marched across swollen streams. 2 men froze to death on the way and were left along the side of the road. A war born of unfair taxation. They knew the stakes. They had other very prominent names in Washington's army. A lot of folks don't know, but our President Monroe was in that army. Alexander Hamilton was the artillery chief. They got a Continental Armyman right there. Very good. We had a gentleman by the name of Hugh Mercer. He was a Virginia gentleman. He knew the stakes. He knew what they were doing. 4 or 5 days later on the battlefield in Princeton, he was bayoneted. His cavalry had attacked the larger British force, and in retreat, he brought up the rear. That's the leadership of our forefathers. And as the British dragged him off his horse and bayoneted him, they yelled at him, "Dying rebel," and he yelled, "I'm no rebel." And he wasn't. He was a patriot. He was your predecessor and my predecessor, and they knew what they were fighting for. Now, in the history books, they teach that the Hessians, the mercenaries that were in Trenton, that were bought by the British, they make it almost trivial that they were drunk, partying for Christmas. It's untrue. The Hessians had slept in their uniforms that night. They had spies in Washington's camp, and the spies told them that Washington was going to attack. They slept with their guns next door to them. They had sentries out. Washington divided his army coming down River Road. A doctor joined him on Bear Tavern Road, noticed that Washington's army was marching, a doctor from the state of New Jersey, and when Monroe was hit in the leg and his artery was severed and he was about to die, it was a doctor from New Jersey that saved our president. The guns were placed, and you can see a monument up there for where Washington placed the cannons to fire into Trenton. And the mercenaries were surprised. And the reason they were surprised wasn't because they were drunk, wasn't because it was Christmas. It was because they didn't think that any army, especially an army where a good number of them didn't have proper shoes, was going to march 9 miles in that icy snowstorm and attack the best army at that time in the world.
They're Europeans, so I would love them.
But Washington did, and we're all the grateful recipients of the sacrifice that those folks made. So there's a different kind of mercenary in Trenton these days, isn't it? Right? They're not Hessians. They're bought by, not the British, but by the power brokers. They're bought by the lobbyists, by the special interest groups, by the unions, you know, and sometimes they're bought by their own parties. We've had a lot of fun at Governor Corzine's expense, haven't we, today? That's right, but you know, there is enough blame to go around. That is true. Under Republican administration, we did the first fiscal hocus pocus where you expanded the size of the government and then paid for it by borrowing. 3 Democratic governors later have put that policy on steroids. And now we stand at the times that we are now, where good people like you are coming out to protest the size of the government and the spending that's gotten out of hand. I say one other thing. That monument, and I hope you folks get a chance to go see it, is absolutely beautiful. When it was dedicated in 1896, 20,000 people showed up for that dedication. By the way, there was no income tax at that time. 20,000 people and 8 governors showed up for a monument that's at the corner of 206 and 31, right up Broad Street. Now, I've tried to go to that monument after Mass on Sunday 4 times in the last 6 months. 1 time, the caretaker had broken the key off in the lock. 2 times, they said it was under some type of repairs, but there was nobody there. There's no work that I could see. And the 4th time, nobody even showed up. Now, that's our government managing one of the best heritage sites that we have in the state of New Jersey. So what that tells me is that they can't take our heritage seriously. They don't. They sure as hell can't manage a budget. And we need to get them out. So friends, I salute you. I thank you for coming out in the rain today. You're a great hope to me and an inspiration. And I hope we do our job in November. Thank you very much.